Hey, it's Melissa from Kiwibanana, and I'm sorry about the bad lighting. It makes my eyes look rather dark. Anyway, I wanted to make this video sort of in response, or sort of talking with a person that found my Yulin Dog Festival video. I'll put a link in the description box down below of that one. And they were just sort of obviously in support of stopping, dogs being killed in places like China, places like Yulin, and I could tell obviously in their comment that they were very passionate about it and that they feel really strongly obviously against the killing of dogs and things like that. And I, that I replied back, and they replied back with an even longer comment, and it went into a lot of things, obviously against the killing of dogs, and they talked a little bit about religion and the consumption of dogs and things like that, and they mentioned about how society may go towards meat on shelves, and I'm assuming they're talking about lab-grown meat, and I just sort of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that they were talking about in their comment. And like in regards to whatever they were saying with religion, I don't feel like it's my place to talk too much about religion, especially of a person like myself who is not of a religion. And I don't agree with using a religious text to justify the killing of animals, especially in westernized societies when we can go to shops and buy other plant-based options. So I don't really want to talk too much about religion, but when they were talking about dogs, they were very much talking about how obviously a dog can be part of a family. The dog has a lot of feelings, and you can sense a dog's love between a human and a dog, and things like that. And I just really wondered whether that sense of compassion that they had towards dogs was extended to other animals, because if we want to, compare dogs with other animals, if you want to compare them on maybe an intelligence level, in a way that we like to calculate intelligence compared to humans, there are many other animals that we consume, that we farm for meat or byproducts of those animals that are the same or if not even more intelligent than dogs. And we, or if we want to compare it with things like sentience, it's the same again. There's other animals that are very similar levels or even exceeding the levels of dogs that we do these things to. And I wondered whether that person was, either a plant-based eater themselves, or they felt like they wanted to head in that direction, because I could, sense their passion that they had towards dogs. And it would be interesting to know whether that does extend to other animals, especially from someone like myself who I wouldn't consider myself as overly obsessed with animals as a child growing up. Like, yes, I had an understanding of, that they could feel and think and things like that, but comparing it to someone like my sister who is an absolute animal lover, and she would definitely fit that box of being someone who really loves animals and who really cares about animals, whereas I wasn't as to the extent of that, even though I am now consider myself vegan and try to avoid harming and hurting animals as much as possible as I can. And in regards to when they talked about meat on shelves, I sort of said, do you think maybe that people would consider meat that has been grown from the soil? And I'm not quite sure if they quite understood what I said when I was referring to that. And what I was meaning was obviously the meat of fruits and vegetables, grains and legumes and nuts and seeds, whether we could move towards that as a society, or as a world, those sort of more developed countries towards, the sort of plant-based meats. I guess, meat doesn't necessarily have to come from the flesh of a dead animal. It could be, made from other things. Whereas I guess they were talking about how we can grow meat in a lab, sort of like a petri dish sort of style, where still, of course, it comes from an animal, but there are less animals killed still less environmentally detrimental, and they can do things to it to take some of the negative effects of eating animals out of it that cause harm to us in our physical health. So I can see where they're coming from in that. And I just thought it was a good opportunity to actually go further into lab-grown meats. And I can see that it could be a better step. It could be another step forward towards a more, I guess people want to say, more plant-based life, more compassionate living, less animals being killed, less detrimental to the environment, possible less health detriments, although you can never still remove all those health detriments from lab-grown meat, and obviously you still need an animal of some kind to be able to grow that from it. But there's something that still sticks in my mind, and that's regards to, I just realised how bad this lighting is again. I'm so sorry. Oh man, I wish I had more natural light. I just really recorded this far too late in the day. And I just sort of wondered whether, if we're still eating meat that is made from the flesh of an animal, whether that's really going to break down all the things that we need to bring about change. And just in the, I guess, in a sense of bringing about social change of other things. So obviously, yeah, lab-grown meat can be less environmentally detrimental, can cause less harm to less animals, and it could cause less health detriment, although I don't really know if you could really stop that fully. But it still will prevent us from bringing about change in other areas of things like social justice and that mentality around eating the flesh of an animal, masculinity, and things like that. So that's why I wonder whether lab-grown meat could be possibly a good step in the right direction, but it's not something that we want to stay on for too long, or that some of us may even not want to go into, because it's just not breaking down that whole concept around eating the flesh of animals, and that it still does come from an animal. It's not really going to break down some of the things that may need to happen to obviously bring the world to a more compassionate place. So yeah, I guess that was just my thoughts on that comment, and I really do appreciate them taking the time to write a comment like this, and that's why I wanted to dedicate a video to this comment. And I am welcome to I am open to to having conversations like this, and if it's a comment like that, I definitely want to dedicate a whole video to that comment. Because I'm a person who's not that experienced in regards to religion, and a person not of religion, and a person who I have biases around religion that I don't want to upset anybody about it. Other than I am happy to say that I dislike the fact that people will use a religious text as a justification for the killing and use of animals. Maybe that is something that someone else who maybe watches the content is welcome to have a discussion about down below. I will try and put a picture of the comment in this video. Let me know any thoughts around, obviously lab-grown meat and extending your compassion from pets that most people have in Western society in their homes to other animals that are of similar or exceeding sentience and or intelligence, or maybe they use another baseline as to why they think that dogs should be treated of a certain kind, and it could just be purely just social norm. But we want to be breaking down social norms really if we want to be going forward as a more compassionate society. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you've done something that makes you happy today. See ya!